Hello, everyone, and welcome to Retirement Ready TV, where we go in depth on all things retirement related. What does it take to make for a successful and fulfilling retirement? And what are some of the mistakes that you can avoid? I'm Michelle Davidson, and we are so fortunate to have people like Tim and Laura Schultz of Preservation Retirement Services right here in Northeast Ohio, helping people realize their dreams for retirement. Thank you so much for inviting us into your beautiful home once again.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, happy to be here. We think of our clients as family. We get to know them really well. We learn about what their dream retirement looks like. And so we wanted to invite our viewers into our home too. Think of you as family as well. So welcome. We're happy to be here today to talk about a really important topic.
It's important and scary. Okay, let's talk about it. So we are going to be discussing the evil T word, taxes. Yes. But first, you have a light for it segment.
I do. We're going to talk about the three buckets. But, people might have heard about this bucket concept before: taxable, tax-deferred, and hopefully tax-free. I'm going to go over all of it.
Okay, sounds good. And we have a segment just for the ladies.
Yes, in Women Get Retirement Ready today, we're going to talk about what do women particularly need to keep in mind when it comes to tax planning.
Okay, all about taxes today. And we also have another annuity segment, which is, I think maybe it's your second favorite segment, but you like the title the best. What is it called?
Annuities can do what?
Annuities can do what? All right, so what are you going to cover there?
Annuities.
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay, so the topic, as we've said a million times, is taxes. Don't be scared. Don't tune out. We're going to make it fun and interesting, okay? It doesn't have to be scary, right?
No, we're going to try not. But to be fair, it is a little bit scary. It really is. But you have control on when you pay them and how much you pay them. And that is important. That's why you got to talk to a financial consultant.
And unfortunately, we find that when a lot of folks come into our office for their initial retirement ready review, they've been working with an advisor, but taxes is one piece that advisor hasn't addressed.
Yeah, it's all the time overlooked, isn't it? We see it.
When you're thinking in that accumulation mindset, I'm just going to grow my money. I'm just going to grow my money as quickly as possible. Sure, that's important. But what we see these days is many people have all of their wealth situated in tax-deferred accounts, meaning they haven't been paying taxes all these years. They got that awesome tax deduction back when they were in their 20s or 30s, and that money has been growing tax-deferred for all these years until they reach retirement when they start spending it down and it becomes taxable on distribution. Well, if taxes are going to keep going up,
which they will,
which we think they will, given the national debt, for example, funding for Social Security, all of these things we hear out there in the world, and tax rates are going to rise. How are we going to deal with that now that we're in retirement and we're having to distribute that money? A lot of advisors, unfortunately, aren't even thinking about that. And is there anything we can do now to plan for something we know is coming? It's not a matter of if taxes are going up, it's when. And so we need to see, what can we do today to make sure you keep the most money in your family's pocket? Do we have any strategies we can employ right now, today, to start that conversation?
And as a retirement planning company, that we have always specialized in that distribution phase of life, tax planning and figuring out the strategies that we're going to go into later, how you can use those and incorporate those into your retirement plan. It's crucial. It makes it so powerful, and people don't even realize it.
And a little less scary if you have a plan.
We're going to try.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm gathering from all of this is that a good solid plan, it's possible to avoid some of those tax mistakes because you hear about them all the time.
Yeah.
It's true. A lot of folks feel like it's my money. I should be able to do it myself. So I should be able to handle everything. And what we always say is whatever you do for a living, if you are a nurse or an architect or a landscaper, we probably can't do this. Like, I'm not very good in the garden, unfortunately.
I love you, but that's true.
But people feel like because it's their money, they have to take it on. But it's hard to keep track of everything. What are the different rules for tax planning? What type of account do you have, and what does that mean? And also, we have to ask what's important to the particular client too. Some people, having as least money, with taxes applied to it as possible is the most important thing to them.
And we go into that, our first visit, the first meeting, that retirement ready review that we take everybody through. These are the questions that we ask to find out, is that important to somebody or not?
For example, the rules have changed recently with respect to leaving an IRA, a tax-deferred account, to your children. Some folks say, whether your kids have to pay taxes on that money when a parent leaves it to them. Some of our clients, and this is totally fine, say, you know what, like leave it to the kids. I put them through school, they can pay taxes. Some clients say, it's really important to me that my children take their legacy tax-free.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, we maybe need to do some work now to plan for later. It's about being proactive, not just responding, oh my gosh, I need all this money this year because I have to buy a car and I have to pay taxes on all of it. Oh my gosh, we want to have a plan to address it on the front end, not just be reactionary.
So true.
It's all about that plan. Okay, let's take a quick break right now. But when we come back, we will be going into more information about tax-savvy retirement planning. You got that. We'll be right back.
We went to Maine this summer. We go to Florida a couple times a year. We took the grandkids up to Michigan fishing. Just living the dream right now.
Yeah, that's the one thing we really want to do is travel and adventure in our retirement. And we weren't even sure before, what we'd be able to do. But after partnering with Tim and Laura, it's like, okay, we're good. Tim and Laura were able to show it to us, visually show us, where it would go and how it would grow and how to diversify. And that, we'd be able to actually have fun and leave a legacy for the kids. When we come in, it's like visiting friends, and it's a partnership. They educated us so much. I thought we were fairly, knowledgeable about it, but when it comes down to it, there was a lot of missing pieces that were more about preserving what we have. Everything that they do is, pinpointed to us. This is our family.
Take control of your future. Preservation Retirement Services. Get retirement ready. Call today.
Welcome back to Retirement Ready TV with Tim and Laura Schultz of Preservation Retirement Services right here in Cleveland. And we're talking about taxes today, but we're making it, feel less scary, less anxiety causing, right? Okay, so I have a question for both of you. My brother-in-law, bless his heart, made what he thinks is a mistake a couple of years ago and did a Roth conversion, which not only hurt him when it came to his taxes that year, but also made his Medicare costs go up. Is that something that you would have seen if you had a plan?
Good question, Michelle. Well, first, let's take a step back and talk about what is a Roth conversion, because maybe some folks out there aren't familiar with the concept if they haven't been doing tax planning yet. The idea is if you have money in a tax-deferred account, like a traditional IRA, a 401k, you can take a piece of that account, put it into a Roth IRA. You have to pay taxes when you do that, but then it grows tax-free from there on out. And this is different than a Roth contribution. A lot of people know there's a very limited amount of money you can contribute directly to a Roth IRA, and some folks can't do that because their income is too high. But a Roth conversion, shifting that money from tax-deferred to tax-free, is available to everyone regardless of income, and the amount you can do is unlimited. It just depends how much taxes you want to pay.
Yeah, you do need to recognize that it is a taxable event. You will pay taxes on this, and it can affect certain things, but you have to weigh it out, Laura, and that's what we always talk about, weighing out the benefits. Short term, yes, you're going to pay taxes, and it might make things go up. We're going to talk about with IRMA, but the long term, will that help you out in the long term with paying less taxes down the road, especially when everybody thinks taxes are going up?
And that's what a retirement professional can do for you. Yeah. They can look at sometimes people are like, I don't want to pay any taxes this year. I don't want to pay more taxes than I have to. Well, yes, you're going to have a tax bill this year, but if it depends what your goal is. It always goes back to your goals. If having a tax-free legacy is important to you, well, maybe it's worthwhile. Or maybe when we look at it using our tools, we can look cumulatively over your lifetime, how much in taxes will you pay? Yes, it's more this year, but over the long run, if we have 10 or 20 years of tax-free growth from the Roth conversion, maybe it makes sense. And the last piece we want to cover is IRMA. We've mentioned that. For folks that aren't familiar with that, it stands for Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. The idea here is...
by the way.
It is. So we'll just say IRMA. I don't want to say that again.
Just say IRMA.
IRMA. So when you're on Medicare, your premiums are based on how much income you have, taxable income. So in the example, your brother-in-law saw his premiums increase because from that Roth conversion, he realized taxable income in this year, which Medicare looks at to determine your premium. So he saw his premiums go up. Again, there are so many different pieces to this puzzle when it comes to tax planning. Those do-it-yourselfers, it's great, but there's a lot of things to keep track of. Again, you want a retirement professional that can look at the whole picture, look not just in this year, but look over time to see what the best tax strategy is cumulatively to keep the most money in your pocket. That's at the end of the day what we want to do for our clients.
I think the takeaway is you need to consult with a tax, specialist, a retirement planner that specializes in tax planning to understand how this all works, because it can be complicated.
Because in that situation, he thought he had been doing the right thing, saved well, but, in the end, taxes.
It goes back to what we talk about, Lori. There's people just don't know what they don't know a lot of times.
There's so many rules to keep track of, and they're changing all the time.
Yep.
And because they're changing, we need help from someone like the two of you. So if folks at home want to connect with you, how do they go about doing that?
Sure. Just give us a call. The same phone number is 440-345-6900.
You can call and leave a voicemail, or better yet, text the word READY to that number, and you'll receive a link to download your very own Retirement Ready Toolkit. We'd love to start that conversation to see what tax opportunities are there for you.
You always go to our website, retirewithprs.com. There's so many different ways to get a hold of us.
And we're going to try one of the ways, right? We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, Tim is going to take us to the Retirement Ready Light Board and illustrate the three main types of retirement savings tools from a tax perspective, which can really make a big difference in your retirement plan. We're going to visualize it. We love that. We'll be right back.
Women have a lot to be proud of. We get a lot done. But too many times, we take care of ourselves last. If you're married, there's a good chance you'll outlive your spouse and all the financial decisions will fall to you. If you're single, it will be up to you to fund your entire retirement. That's a lot to carry by yourself. I'm Laura Schultz, and at Preservation Retirement Services, we can help to take some of that off your shoulders. It's time to put yourself first for once. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's segment of the Retirement Ready Light Board. And in today's show, we've been talking a lot about tax-savvy retirement strategies. So today, in the Light Board segment, I want to talk to you about the three buckets of money that almost everybody has and the differences between the three and why you need to know this. So with your permission, I'm just going to start drawing right on your television screen. So let's begin with a little magic. Okay, here we go. We have the three buckets of money. The first one is taxable, second is tax-deferred, and the third that we'll get to that we like a lot is the tax-free bucket. Now, your taxable bucket, this is going to be things that are like your CDs, accounts that you have in the bank, money market accounts, you have some good rates going on right now, and your non-qualified brokerage accounts. This bucket of money, you've already paid tax on the money that's went into the accounts, and then you're going to get a 1099 on the interest when you realize it and you take it out as a distribution. The next bucket of money is the tax-deferred account. Now, we find that a lot of our clients that we work with here at Preservation Retirement Services, and for the most part, everybody in America really has a lot of their wealth, a lot of their portfolio concentrated in the tax-deferred bucket because of their employer sponsor plans, the 401k, 403b, 457, whatever it might be. And then, of course, your traditional IRAs, right? These are going to be your tax-deferred accounts, which means that you have not paid taxes on any of the money yet. It is accumulating, it is growing, it is deferring out into the future. At such time, when you take that distribution, that is when you get taxed on the full amount of it, and it's just treated as ordinary income. We tell our clients, think of it if you are retired and you need to dip into these accounts in the future, you need that $10,000 or $15,000 for a car, a wedding, for health, vacation, whatever it might be. You think of it just as a job. You had a little part-time job for $10,000, $15,000, and it's treated as ordinary income. Very good. And then the last bucket is your tax-free bucket. Now, this is going to be your Roth IRA and certain versions of permanent life insurance that builds up cash value. And the thing about tax-free bucket is, just like it sounds, the principal and all the interest grows tax-free. Okay, and one quick thought on the tax-deferred bucket going over to the tax-free bucket. If you're somebody like us here at Preservation Retirement Services that feels like taxes are going to go up in the future like we do, and you think that Roth conversions might be a part of your overall portfolio, make sure that you consult with your retirement planner and ask these questions about converting money now, paying taxes now. Because remember, once you pay taxes on it, you're done. You move it over to the tax-free, the principal and all the interest is tax-free for the rest of your life. And when you pass away, then for legacy planning, when that money goes to the children, then it is tax-free to them as well. Super important. Tax planning needs to be understood. If your current advisor isn't talking about it, give us a call. I'll see you next week.
It's time for my favorite segment of the show, Women Get Retirement Ready. We take a question submitted by one of our female viewers. And I know this is something that is very important to you.
Yeah, sitting out here as a female viewer myself, there's not a lot of retirement planners out there that are reaching out to women, thinking about women, talking to women specifically, and the unique issues that face women in retirement. One of them, longevity. We women outlive our male counterparts, depending on what study you look at, 5 to 7 years. So Tim and I always say there's someone in the household that's the CFO. They're the one that is on top of the investments, top of the budget. They're really thinking about the money piece of their household. Usually the other one is the COO, handling everything else, running the household, right? And sometimes the woman, if it's a male and women that are married, sometimes it's the wife that's a CFO, but oftentimes just because of societal norms, we find that in a husband-wife couple, the wife may be lending that CFO role, maybe relying on her husband for that. But if given the statistics about longevity, whether you are the CFO today and you're female or you're not, statistically speaking, you will be. 80% of women pass away single. So whether they are already the CFO, and don't get me wrong, there are some women out there right now that they are on it. They are on top of their investments. They've been retirement planning. We had one client come in. She's been building her retirement plan since she was 28 years old. She's been planning for retirement. But some other women maybe have some questions that are unanswered and they're scared to ask them. They're scared to ask their advisor for fear that someone will talk over them, make them feel stupid. So we wanted to offer this space here on the show for women to get their questions answered with no fear of somebody thinking that they're silly or stupid or that the question is not a good one. So anyway, let's hear one.
There is no stupid question, no bad question. So our question for today is from Alexis.
Hi, Laura. I know you're working on a special taxes episode. Is there anything specific to women in taxes that we women need to know?
Well, Alexis has hit the nail on the head with two of my favorite topics, taxes and talking to women about retirement. So it goes back to what we were actually just talking about, women and longevity when it comes to taxes. Again, statistically speaking, if you are the last person in your family, in your couple, between you and your husband that's alive, you are going to have to deal with the tax implications of what many families encounter, which is having most of their money in tax-deferred accounts. When I say tax-deferred accounts, I mean IRAs, traditional IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, 457s, TSPs, all of those complicated names. That means you haven't paid any tax on your retirement account yet, and you pay taxes on the way out. Well, if the woman is the last one standing and she not only has hopefully her own tax-deferred accounts, but she's inherited her husband's tax-deferred accounts, there's this other ugly little guy out there called the required minimum distribution. The idea being that at some point in time, the government says, enough is enough with this tax-deferred business. We want our tax dollars. And they make you take out your money. When you reach age, now it's 73 or 75, previously 70 and a half, 72. So if you are now, let's say, widowed, your husband has passed away, and you have a significant amount of your money in tax-deferred accounts, and you're a single tax filer now. So those tax brackets are so compressed. When you're being forced to take out 4, 5, 6% of your IRA and pay taxes on that, you're going to be pushed into a higher tax bracket. And so for a lot of our female clients, we want to think proactively about shifting money from those tax-deferred accounts to tax-free accounts. And that's the process of what we call Roth conversions. Now, it doesn't work for everybody, but particularly if you are someone that is concerned about longevity. I talk about my grandma a lot on this show. She lived till almost 103 years old. You know, us women out there, we've got it in our genes. So we need to think proactively about how do we make sure if you are the last spouse standing, we can put you in the best tax advantaged situation that we can. It's all about tax efficiencies. And that should be on every woman's mind.
And sometimes it's just about having a plan and talking with the right person.
It is.
Okay. So if someone at home wants to ask a question of Laura, what should they do?
Well, it's super simple. It's what we're always talking about the show. Call that same number, 440-345-6900. You can leave us a voicemail or you can send the word question in a text, and we'll give you instructions on how to give that question to us. Whether you'd love to be on camera, great. We'd love to see your face up here next week. If you just want your question answered, but you're not so sure about the whole being on the show thing, send it anyway. I would love to answer your question, but don't just sit there and not have your question answered.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Annuities Can Do What? And the reason we're doing this segment is because we found that conversations of annuities can be quite polarizing. People have very strong opinions about them. Most of the time, it's because of misinformation or lack of correct knowledge. So I'm here in this segment every week to demystify annuities, educate, and hopefully share some knowledge with you. Now, before we get into this week's topic, I do want to share some basic annuity information with you. So let's call it Tim's super abbreviated Annuity 101 class. So what is an annuity? An annuity is a contract between you and an insurance company where you give them a lump sum of money upfront for a fixed period of time for a contractually determined rate of return or income stream in the future. I mean, I guess that's why annuities can be so confusing, right? But let's try. So Laura and I use this annuity spectrum for a lot of new clients come into our office to explain how they work. On the left side is a fixed annuity. On the far right is a variable annuity. And in the middle is a fixed index annuity. And I'll get to those in a moment. So a fixed annuity is just, think of it like a CD on steroids. It's a guaranteed rate of return for a certain duration. On the far side is that variable annuity. Now, variable annuities have the highest fees out of any investment product out there. Your money is in the market, so you can lose it. Now, listen, we believe that you should have money in the market. Don't get me wrong, but we feel that the money should be managed, have your fees be lowered, and don't be stuck in that long surrender period that a variable annuity has. But the middle ground is what we really like, that fixed index annuity. It's kind of the best of both worlds. So when the market goes down, you can never lose any money. The insurance company covers your losses. But when the market goes up, which we like, you share in the gains with the chosen insurance company that you're using. And it's based off of a chosen index every year that you choose. Every year your rates are locked in every year, so you can go up or sideways. And most of the time they have no fees. Annuities are not bad. We believe they should be, for the most of the time, part of your overall retirement plan. Make sure you talk to your retirement planner about that. The problem is there's just so many annuity sales reps out there that are overselling them because that's all they're selling. Unlike Preservation Retirement Services that offers both insurance solutions and managed money in the market. They're selling the wrong annuity to the wrong person for the wrong purpose. Listen, are annuities perfect? No. I mean, no one investment solution is. That's why we believe in diversification. The downside is that they are not fully liquid. However, you do get access to typically about 10% of your annuity's value each and every year without penalty. So that being said, let's get into today's topic. You know, this whole show, we've been talking about taxes. So I want to take this time and talk about tax deferral feature of annuities. And really, it is a often overlooked feature of annuities. So we're talking about non-qualified annuities now. So a lot of times, individuals that want to use safety in their investment plan, they're using some CDs. And you've probably had one before. That CD that you use, you're getting that 1099 income every year that on your realized gains. So with an annuity, we can put that money into a fixed index annuity, have no fees, can never lose any money, and your interest that you're accruing gets tax deferred year after year after year. And let's say we reach that 10-year period on an annuity, it matures, you can do what's called a 1035 exchange, roll that money again if you want, and keep pushing your income that's earned down the road until you decide to take it. Sometimes there are reasons not to realize that income. You need to talk to your financial planner about that. I hope that makes sense.
All right, we only have a few precious minutes left, and I think you should tell everyone at home about your process.
Well, today we're spending a lot of time talking about taxes, but it's every day talking about taxes.
Every day,
Retirement
yes.
services, but not just taxes, all of the other important components of a retirement plan, which can get confusing. There's a lot to keep top of mind. So that's why we developed the Retirement Ready Roadmap. And we try to keep it simple for folks, ROAD. So R is about reviewing the risks that could potentially impact your retirement. There are so many things outside of your control, whether taxes, we've been talking about taxes, whether taxes go up, market volatility, healthcare issues, long-term care, the death of a spouse. We want to have a plan in place for all these things that we know very well could happen. We just don't know when.
Really, the whole show has been about, in road, optimize. We're talking about optimizing taxes. And we're talking about it in the show today, but we talk about this every day with every client that walks into our office. We're talking about taxes for the client itself, that they want to spend that money down the road while they're retired and tax-free, but also legacy. When that money does get passed on to their loved ones, do they want to send that to them tax-free as well? So important.
When we're thinking about taxes, it's not one and done, right? We're just trying to optimize for each individual person. It's not the same strategy within their tax bracket.
Right. Sure.
How much can we convert? How much we can spend without going over to the next bracket? What makes sense?
Sure.
Then that brings us to A, allocating assets. That's just a complicated way to say, do you have a diversified portfolio? When we're looking at your investments, how are you allocated from super conservative to super aggressive? And does that meet with your risk tolerance? It's really important.
D is about distribute, and it's so important. It's an income gap. So many people have that income gap when they retire, because when you're working, your income's here, right? Your expenses are here. When you retire or voluntarily unemployed, like we say, the income goes away.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, it's not our fault. It happens. But the expenses are usually there, and sometimes they actually go up. But there's that gap, and we need to figure out how we fill in that gap. That's what the D is, distribute.
And it comes back to taxes for that D.
It does.
Comes back to investments. They all tie together as part of a holistic retirement plan. And sometimes folks come in, they say, I have an advisor, I have a retirement plan. What they really have is accounts, not a plan. For each of our clients, their Retirement Ready Roadmap, it is a written out retirement plan in plain English, not using any
Right there so they
jargon.
can see it.
So they can see it on one
And go
to
back
two
to
pages
it.
And go back to it and revisit. What is our Roth conversion plan again? It's written down right there for them so that they can see it.
So if someone at home wants to get on the road to retirement planning, get on that road, right? How do they connect with you?
Just call us 440-345-6900.
You can call us, you can text the word ready to get your Retirement Ready toolkit, and really to start the conversation. We'd love to have a phone call or have you sit down in our office in North Olmsted or Beechwood for your Retirement Ready review, where we find out how important are taxes to you. Do you have a tax plan right now? What are your goals in retirement? And build that roadmap customized to you.
So many ways to get a hold of us. retirewithprs.com as well. Just get a hold of us.
Make the call.
Thank you so much. And thanks for joining us for Retirement Ready TV. We will see you next time.